Throughout history, we've seen empires rise, and we've also seen them fall. There are many factors as to how once great entities meet their demise, and time again, it has been proven to us that no matter how big you are, you will eventually find yourself in a tight spot. What you do while you're there is what makes or breaks you. Today, we're going to be talking about one such case of an empire falling and what it did to push itself further down. Yes, we're going to be talking about General Electric and what happened to it that it went from being one of the greatest companies in the world to being a risky investment. This is Fraud Explained. To enjoy more of our videos, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell, or else I'll be looking into you too. To start, let's look a little bit into how General Electric was established. Keep watching till the end to find out why one of the most powerful multinational conglomerates failed. General Electric, or GE as we know it, was founded by Thomas Edison in 1889. Yes, that Thomas Edison, the guy with the light bulb. After he invented the light bulb in 1879, he sought to get involved in multiple companies that were dabbing in electricity and technology. He was able to establish GE when he merged many of those businesses together to form one big corporation. He was able to do this with the help of J.P. Morgan and Anthony Drexel. General Electric was the first company to introduce all sorts of household appliances to the market. Electric toasters and hot plates were just some of the appliances that they released. They were able to improve kitchens all over the United States because people wanted to try out their new products. In the 30s, during the Great Depression, General Electric even introduced some sort of loan system which allowed consumers to pay for the appliances they wanted to purchase over a period of time. Some of the company's earliest products were incandescent light bulbs, an electric locomotive, X-ray machines, and electric stoves. They became game changers in their respective fields. Its mass production of electric home appliances during the 1920s was revolutionary. It changed the homes and lifestyles of millions across America. Soon, tons of consumers wanted to equip their homes with all of the new appliances that GE was able to come up with. It was cementing itself into the lives of ordinary consumers like you and me. Over the next decades, the company would have tons of new inventions that greatly impacted society, that come the end of the 20th century, General Electric was already a household name, and was an established brand not only in the United States, but all over the world. At one point in time, General Electric was considered one of the most innovative and inventive companies throughout history. They tried to get into every industry they possibly could: household appliances, healthcare, power, aviation, digital manufacturing, finance, lighting, and many more. Check around your home right now. Chances are you have at least one appliance made by General Electric. So what went wrong with General Electric? Well, some say that it started way back when a man named Jack Welch was still their CEO. News articles have described Welch to be the best and worst thing to happen to GE. People considered him to be somewhat like a god in the field of business, because while he was CEO of General Electric, the company's shares skyrocketed. He was known for his unwavering focus towards achieving excellence and was notorious for firing employees who underperformed, among other things, and adopting this management model called Six Sigma, which is basically a set of techniques that allows very little to no room for error. At the time, it worked. General Electric really flourished under Welch's reign. Welch also focused heavily on GE Capital, General Electric's financial services arm. In 2000, almost half of the company's revenue, a whopping $96 billion, came from GE Capital. It became far larger and far more successful than General Electric's other units. Thanks to how well GE Capital was doing, the company was able to produce a lot of income, surprising financial analysts and investors when the numbers finally came out. This was probably the reason why Welch treasured this particular GE arm so much. It also made GE more of a financial services company than a manufacturing company, contrary to how Edison envisioned it when he set up the company. However, it was also this finance arm that led General Electric to slowly crash. Because most of GE's money came from GE Capital, a lot of its traditional industrial businesses suffered. The finance market in general was down after the terrorist attack of September 11, 2001, and things got even worse when the financial crisis of 2008 happened. Jeffrey Immelt took over as CEO of General Electric after Jack Welch, who some analysts say is also to blame for General Electric turning into a shadow of its former self. The company's stock fell 42%, and after Welch's departure, it became pretty clear that GE was on its way to decline. To be fair, Immelt had a particularly bad start at the company due to the 9/11 terrorist attacks, but he was not able to live up to the standards that Jack Welch had set. Not only was the financial market in shambles, but the aviation industry, another one of GE's main businesses, was also badly hit. Keep watching until the end to see how things became much worse for GE during Jeffrey Immelt's time as CEO. The financial crisis of 2008 nearly destroyed General Electric. Stock prices plummeted and reached a mere $6 a share. Immelt had to pair up with Warren Buffett to get some funding that would allow the company to get back on track and reestablish itself as a company that was dedicated to creating products that everyone loves. Warren Buffett was able to invest $3 billion, and General Electric started to shy away from its image as a financial services company. However, their problems did not end there. Because most of the focus had been placed on GE Capital during General Electric's year of growth, its industrial arms had suffered due to years of neglect. The switch back to industrial was not as easy as Immelt had hoped, and they were spending so much money and earning very little of it back. To address this, Immelt tried to venture into the digital world. He wanted to make GE a leader in the market again, so he decided to launch GE Digital. However, there was one big problem. Immelt seemed to not really know what he was doing. There was no clear vision as to how General Electric was supposed to conquer the digital world, and there were no directions for GE employees. None of them were experts in that particular domain. As part of his attempt to bring GE back to its former glory, Immelt also tried to purchase Alstom's turbine business. However, this proved to be a bad business decision because the company was not doing well. Being a part of GE made it perform even worse. It spent a whopping $9.6 billion for that deal, only for it to flop. As a result, General Electric declined dramatically under Jeffrey Immelt's reign. The GE we see now is a result of making one bad business decision after another. When Immelt stepped down from his position as CEO, stock prices rose up just a little bit. GE's current CEO, Larry Culp, is now trying to put GE back on track, and he's got his work cut out for him. Larry Culp is not trying to undo just one bad business year. He has to make up for decades upon decades of GE heading down the wrong path. It was a result of Jack Welch's dedication of making GE a financial giant and not focusing much on its manufacturing capabilities, and Jeffrey Immelt's inability to turn things around during his run as CEO. When stock slid, it wiped out more than $500 billion in shareholder value. When Culp assumed his position as GE's new CEO, the company's market value was only at about $75 billion, and its debt was nearly double of what it was initially. As of February 2020, shares have fallen a whopping 59% since January 2017. The company announced that it would be laying off over 12,000 of its employees in an effort to cut costs and manage its funds. However, analysts aren't counting out GE just yet. They're still holding out hope that GE would be able to get back on its feet. 2019 seemed like a good year for GE, and it received more positive news than the years prior. Culp has been able to make significant improvements to the company, and has been able to alleviate some of the pressure it has been experiencing over the last few years. He was able to significantly reduce the company's debt, which had been at around $55 billion. It was expected that by 2020, the debt would be half of that value. He also decided to head back to GE's roots and focus on industries that made GE so great in the first place. Culp sold off their transportation arm and got rid of the company's stake in Baker Hughes. Both of Culp's decisions were able to raise a hefty sum for GE. As for GE's future, we'll just have to wait and see. Culp seems to be turning things around slowly, and GE is seemingly getting better as time passes. However, the coronavirus pandemic seems to have halted progress by a little bit. When lockdowns and quarantines were enforced all over the world, GE released this message. At a time when more than 300 million Americans are sheltering in place, GE Appliances has an essential mission, helping families live in clean and sanitary environments at home. Our appliances play a critical role in ensuring that Americans can store food and medicines, make meals for their families, and fight germs on their clothes and dishes. GE is striving to do its part in helping out the global community to combat the virus. The company announced its new program, GEA for Heroes, where the company, in partnership with United Way Worldwide, has committed to donate a significant portion of the products they were able to manufacture to frontliners in need. GE has also been able to donate more than 120,000 face masks and 100,000 pairs of gloves to healthcare facilities to the states where they have their factories. What would you have done if you were placed in Immel's shoes? What steps do you think Welsh could have taken in order to avoid GE from crashing down after he left? Let's talk about it in the comments section below. We'll be sure to respond to every comment posted within the first hour. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely check out our video on the rise and fall of Kraft Heinz to see what happens when two multi-billion-dollar companies get together but don't live up to expectations. Stay tuned and stay educated.